When we're in the bedrooms upstairs, we like to tell you a little bit about each of the books that the bedrooms are named after. So in this room, we have Spring Came On Forever, a novel that Mrs. Aldrich wrote in 1935. In the story, there's a young woman who lives in Illinois with her father and part of a Lutheran society, a German background. And he comes to her and he has great news. He wants her to know that he has decided that she gets to marry this older man who's part of their society, because the good news is when they get to Nebraska, they could get 80 acres of land. Well, as you can imagine, she's not overly excited, but she's obedient and she agrees. But before they come to the prairie, they need a soap kettle. And so they decide to go to town and to the ironworks area to find one to take to the prairie for their soap and lard cooking. So when they do, she meets a young man and she falls in love with him. And he sneaks out to the farm for a few times and eventually tells her that she's not going to Nebraska, that in fact he'll be picking her up on a particular day. And when that day arrives, there's been a storm and the river's too high and he can't get across the river. And so he has to wait, and when the river finally gets slow enough, he crosses to find that she has already gone. And he remembers that she was to be married at the courthouse in Nebraska City, Nebraska. So he's thinking, if I take a river journey and she's on a wagon, maybe I could get to her before she's actually married. So when you read the book, you'll have an opportunity to see if he gets to her in time. Just a side note about Spring Came On Forever. Mrs. Aldrich had always wanted a movie and a Broadway play. And according to her biography, Spring Came On Forever was proposed as a Broadway play. And so she was in Los Angeles, and they had told her that to go home and that the call would come and give her an update on the status of her Broadway play. And when the call came, they said that they had decided to go with another little production instead of hers. And the other little production was called Oklahoma.